Coach, clearly the production is there from the sophomores, between Tony, between Lamar, Mike. What at this point in terms of close games, what's missing, and if there is anything missing, how do you get yourself out of those situations of, being down to the last minute and down by only a couple points?
Yeah, it's just taking care of the basics of the game. We got to block out. I thought a couple of their offensive rebounds really hurt us. And we got to take care of the ball. That's on us. It's not like we're trapping or pressing or anything like that. Got to take care of the ball. So, again, just like we did with Maryland, we're going to watch the end-of-game situations, which we practice all the time. We're going to watch this end-of-game situation. We're going to work on it. We're going to rep it out. We're going to practice it. We got to take care of the little things. Costly turnover, offensive rebound, a couple missed free throws in there. So we got to take care of simple. But it all starts for me on the defensive end. We got to do a better job defending and rebounding. And once you do that, you'll start to see this thing sway our way.
Pat, you were also without one of your best defensive players. You've now had 4 different guys miss games. I can't recall that ever happening. Is there something where guys just aren't getting what you're preaching, that you have to do this, or what is happening that there's been so many of these instances?
Yeah, as we've said, there's a standard of excellence here, right? And pillar number 2 on my pillars of excellence is accountability. We got to hold everybody accountable. It's probably a lost start today, and I'm going to, draw that line in the sand, and I'm not going to budge. We got to make sure we take care of business. And you can look throughout the entire country where coaches have turned their cheek or turned their head. We're not going to do that here. Penn State doesn't want to do that. The athletic department doesn't want to do that. And this program's not going to do that. We're going to hold you accountable. We're going to hold you to a higher standard. And that's what it's about. And you know what? You're going to be better men for it. That's my job. I get it. We're supposed to win games. But when you develop men, things start to happen. Then you start winning games.
And if I could, do you mind if I follow up on that?
No, go ahead, Mark.
If they're not getting it, whatever that is, how can you expect them to get it on the court, I guess, and does that reflect back on the coaching? And I'm trying to say that in a respectful way.
No, look, they're 18 to 23. They're going to stub their toe. I know you weren't perfect 18 to 23, were you?
No, not.
No, but we live in a social media world. We live in an instant gratification world. Everything's out there, in a second. So they're going to stub their toe. Things are going to happen, and we got to hold them accountable, and that's what I'm doing.
Is it determined if he'll be back Friday?
I'm hoping he'll be back Friday.
When will you find out?
We'll wait and see. He's got some work to do.
Okay.
To whatever degree you can speak, I mean, it seems curious considering it's the first week of classes, but knowing his resources and everything available to the program, how does an academic issue specifically happen 2 days into the semester?
Yeah, he's got some things to clean up.
Was it related to the last semester or this one?
He's got some things to clean up.
Very good.
Where do you start in the gym, kind of recovering from?
Got to respond. Yeah, it's a new day. We've got to get better today. New day. We were a little out of sync, and that's okay. We'll come back to work. We'll watch film. We'll get in practice with those different lineups now that we have, and try to get those lineups better. But we played better at home. We played really well against Northwestern. Maryland, Indiana, there were some great spurts, man, really good spurts in that first half from the 9-minute mark down where we took the lead, tied it, really did some good things. We had a good spurt late in the second half. We need to play more consistent on the road. And if we can bottle up that energy and that effort that we played with last Friday night, we'll find success.
Tony played, I think, 39 minutes. Can you expect him to realistically do that moving forward in the Big Ten?
No, and nor do I want to. So we got to get him. We got to get him some rest. I got to do a really good job of substitutions and making sure we get him out before media timeouts. Maybe it's not minute time. Maybe it's not 39, but it's real time.
Right.
As long as we get him a breather. Because when his minutes are down below like 36, 35, 34, he plays really well on both ends of the floor.
What did you see from Nazir Bostic last night, especially defensively, playing in more of a bigger role without Josh out there?
Yeah, he's got a long way to go. He's a freshman in my mind, still learning how to play. I mean, this is a big-time level, and he really didn't play much last year. So being thrown out there on the road at Indiana, packed house, 17+, I mean, I'm sure it was a little intimidating. And he'll learn from that, and he'll only get better as the practices go along.
All right, you talked about giving Tony more rest, but again, the bench only had 1 point last night. What can you do to address that?
Yeah, I'm going to give Satchel a chance here. I think he gave us a good 8 minutes last night. Very capable in low post. Jamar's hit a little bit of a rough patch. I think Jamar can give us 4 to 6 points. I think he could do a good job for us in that regard. We got to do a better job rebounding too on the offensive end. We only had, I believe, 5 offensive rebounds last night. So we gotta go to the glass a little bit more. And I think we can. Look, we shot statistically. We had some good stats. We got to the free throw line on the road. That's all you could ask for. But, they won the battle of the offensive rebounding, and they won the battle as far as us turning the ball over and them capitalizing on our mistakes.
With Satchel getting a chance, how are you trying to complement him with Mike in terms of rebounding and just figuring out that offensive rebounding problem that you guys have and just figuring that out?
Yeah, so the whole rebounding thing, defensively, obviously first, they're big bodies. Mike's a double-double machine right now. Even when he's not at his best, he's still getting a double-double. So I think either Satchel or Julian, getting some extra minutes there could really help us out, having some bigger bodies out there to rebound the basketball. Because when we're playing small with Tony at the 3, we're not doing a great job rebounding the ball. And you guys know when we get stops and we get going, we're scoring the basketball or we're getting to the free throw line.
I know when I talked to Satchel before the season started, most of the guys kept saying how great he is. He has a soft touch. Would you expect him, when he starts to play alongside Mike, to Mike be kind of the enforcer and on the inside and then Satchel be on the outside?
Yeah, we could do a little bit of both. We can mix that up. Depending on matchups and what we see and what, obviously what matchup we like best. But both of them can play on the outside. And what I mean by Mike can get into some good ball screen action, some dribble handoffs. Satchel could do the same thing. He's got a good 15-footer. So it'll be a good lineup for us. Reminds me of Texas A&M a little bit.
Pat, with Wheeler, you obviously have the confidence in him to shoot. Is he shooting better in practice than we see in games?
He absolutely is, Mark. He comes in every day. He's getting shots up with the coach. He works so hard. He's a joy to be around. Absolute joy to come to work every day and watch this kid compete versus Tony and Shep. It's going to drop for him. He's just sped up. He's he's a jackrabbit. He's full of energy. If he could just slow down just a little bit, I think he'll see the ball go through the basket.
How much of a weapon is he when that shot falls?
When the shot starts falling, you can't load up on us now. Now you can't have that 5th guy in the paint. So it's going to fall. He works too hard. And you've heard me say this before. He's earned the right to see the ball go through the basket. He's just got to take a big, deep breath and exhale a little bit.
So you've given him that green light already in terms of shooting, because there were a couple of times, I remember against Northwestern, where he kind of was hesitant, and I guess that's going to come with time.
He's a freshman. He's got to pick and choose his spots. It's the end of the clock. If he's got a good one, he's got to let it rip. But I thought against Northwestern, he was getting in the paint. He made some good passes. Last night, we needed to do that more. With Josh not in the game last night, we needed someone else to be able to make plays for others, especially Mike.
What's inhibiting Shep from being the player we've seen in the past and perhaps just being his best self in general this season?
Yeah, we're trying to run more plays for him. We're trying to get him some shots. We're trying to let him make some decisions, and we just got to continue that. He's had a couple good games. He had a couple good stretches. Northwestern was his best defensive game, so I don't want to knock his offense, especially when you got production from Lamar and Mike. And last night you got production from Lamar in the first half and Tony in the second half with a little bit of Mike sprinkled in there. So we as a coaching staff have to do a good job for Shep to see if we can get him moving a little bit more and get him to his sweet spots where he feels comfortable.
How have you seen Tony adjust on the offensive end now? We've seen teams start to double him, especially when he goes to the post. How has he adjusted and trying to get other guys open and pick his spots?
Yeah, he's doing a better job. Again, he got to the free throw line. Once we hit the bonus, we had to start driving the basketball, and I thought he did a really good job of that, of recognizing and understanding. We moved him around. We posted him up. We did some different things. So, again, if he's going to get blitzed, Mike's going to be on the roll. There's going to be a guy filling. Lamar's going to be over here. So there's got to be different things that he sees, but he has to continue to read how they're going to defend him, because they're going to start doubling him in the post. They're going to start blitzing the ball screens, and he's got to make really good decisions out of there.
What's the key to kind of keeping this consistency, this level of consistency from Lamar going?
It's critical. First half, he was unbelievable. And I don't know if he tired in the second half or wore out because he's playing a lot of minutes. I just know when we keep him around 32, 34, the kid's unbelievable. And again, he played 37, I believe, against Northwestern, and he played 36 last night. That might be too many minutes. So I'm going to have the faith and trust in some people off the bench to give us a couple minutes to give him a blow.
He's avoided foul trouble, too. That's been pretty key.
Yeah, but when he's fresh, he's in stance, he's doing a good job. I'd like to see him rebound a little bit more, but it's the mental conditioning. It's that aspect of the game when he's hitting that 34, 35-minute mark, he's got to really punch through for us.
How much do you think that's played a role with a couple close losses now on the road, Indiana, Maryland, that mental conditioning, that aspect of it?
Yeah, I think it's everything. I think it's everything. When it comes to defending and rebounding, when it comes to doing simple on the offensive end, I mean, our offense did not look anything like it did on Friday. And everything's supposed to be moving. It's supposed to be equal opportunity, and it just didn't flow as much as I wanted it to. So you got to do simple better on the offensive end. Got to be in stances on the defensive end. And then the fact that they got those rebounds, well, if you're fresh and you're ready to go, you know I'm going to block him out, and I'm going to go chase the ball down. So just little things like that are the difference. And guess what? It doesn't take talent to do that. It just takes that mental toughness to break through when you're a little bit fatigued. And look, he's a sophomore. They'll get there. Tony's a sophomore. Just little steps, small successes every day, learning process to get that next great success.
So it's that toughness, a lot of things factor into that, focus, attention.
Yeah.
Is it more than, it's not a will thing? What is it, I guess?
It's all encompassing. Yeah, mental conditioning is all of that. It's desire, it's discipline, it's fighting through when you're tired, it's fighting through when you're not shooting well, it's fighting through when the team's going on a run, it's fighting through and handling obstacles and adversity and sticking together, especially on the road with the, fans are going crazy. That's when you got to fight and stick together the most.
How do you keep guys bought in when the path to some of your goals gets steeper the longer a season goes along? Because, there hasn't been a secret that this team thinks that it can make the tournament, and that is pragmatically getting harder as some of these losses come along.
13 games to go. Got plenty of time. One day at a time. Plenty of time to keep getting better. Obviously we've been hit with some curveballs here. We just got to get back together, stay close-knit, try to win the next day. We're going to win today. We'll win tomorrow, and then get ready to compete versus a very good Nebraska team.
Pat, when you talk about mentality, what was the team's reaction and mentality coming off that close, almost comeback last night?
They were down. They were disappointed. We felt like we had a great opportunity to get a road win. And, again, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror as coaches, as players. What can we do a better job of? But I know they're eager to get back to practice and get back to film to see what we can do better.
And you had some close losses last year. Do you see a difference now, and especially these now sophomores, that maybe have more of a leadership coming into, the locker room after a loss like that? Yeah,
again, when you lose on the road, it's always difficult, especially when you think you should win. You believe you should win. I think Shep's doing a really good job emerging as that leader, talking in the locker room, hey, you got to stick together. Let's get the next one. Let's get better tomorrow. Let's just stay the course. And that's what we got to do. You guys heard of all these expressions, but we're really believing in them.
Is there frustration when some of the issues you guys have faced have not necessarily gone away with an influx of talent? I mean, you've become a more talented team, but I think to a certain extent some of the issues that you guys have had have not necessarily been different today than they were X number of years ago. I mean, is that an inaccurate representation? Because obviously you're more talented, you're more competitive, but some of those little things sometimes have not necessarily changed along the way. Is that just how it works?
You like to think that you can teach these guys how to take care of those little things, right? We're a talented team. Now we have to understand you have to play a lot harder, especially to win on the road for 40 minutes. Not to diminish, you got to play hard all the time in this league, but I think they're gaining that understanding that there's no nights off in this league, and you got to take care of simple on and off the floor.
What did you see in Mike's demeanor after he kind of got those 2 early fouls and he had to sit? But in the second half, it seemed like he seemed to regroup and he had a pretty solid second.
Yeah, he was frustrated. Mike's been doing a good job of staying out of foul trouble, but he was frustrated. That he got 2 fouls and then he's going to sit for 8 or 9 minutes. But truth be told, we went on a run and took the lead with him on the bench. So that to me alone is a positive to show that we can compete at a high level, even though he's on the bench. But he responded, right? He had a good second half, and we put the ball inside to him. He did some good things, made 2 critical free throws down the stretch. We just need to be a little bit more disciplined on the defensive end.
What goes into when you're heading into a game? How do you know who you're going to go to, especially if you have a plethora of guys on the bench that are bigs that you can go to, if it's Satchel or Julian or even just pick out John?
Yeah, it's just who's got the hot hand, I guess you could say, right? Who's playing well, who's doing some good things for you defensively, who knows what they're doing, who's engaged, who do you hear the most on the bench, that type of energy that you need. So it's been a luxury to all right, Julian, all right, maybe not your night, his knee's been bothering him a little bit. Satchel's been having a couple good practices over the last week or so. All right, let's give him a shot. John hurt his ankle, so he wasn't really available for us last night. So, okay, let's go Satchel. And I thought he gave us a good 8 minutes.
We talked last year about the freshmen adjusting so much, and part of that was getting over fouls they thought should have gone their way, and part of that mental toughness. How have you seen the sophomores in particular deal with that this season? Because obviously things don't always go your way on the road.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job at Maryland, and I thought they did a great job last night of staying disciplined. A couple things here and there, but overall I think they managed their energy very well and understand. I thought we got a fair whistle. I mean, we're in the one-on-one early in the second half, so that's usually not the case. Especially at Maryland, it wasn't the case. So, as long as they keep things in check, remain disciplined, use your energy for defense and rebounding, and doing the right things on the offensive end, like execution, that's only going to help us as we proceed down the stretch here.
How hard has it been to build momentum this year? And what would momentum do for you, if anything? Does that exist, momentum?
You know what? It's funny. I've actually been thinking about this, Nate. I really have. It's a good question. I felt like we were right there. I always feel like we're right there, and then we just get a little shot with adversity. And now you got to punch right back. You got to come back. You got to handle it. You got to make your tweaks and adjustments. We are this close to being able to handle the next obstacle, the next adversity, and getting on a run. I really believe that. I believe we're this close, and I think a little winning streak here would really help this program out. It really would. But we got to stay the course. Today's the most important day. If we're blessed enough to get up tomorrow will be the next important day. We can't keep focusing on March. We can't do that. We got to get better right now. You started 4 sophomores at Indiana last night. Don't get me wrong, they're talented, but they still have to learn how to compete every possession for 40 minutes. And Northwestern, we did it. Last night, we probably did it for 20. And that's not good enough on the road. And it's our job as a staff, my job as the head coach and leader, to make sure that we get there.
What is that next step for you guys? Is it going on the road and playing and winning tough games in tough environments like last night in Assembly Hall and last week in Maryland? Is that the next step for you guys?
No, it's watching film. It's getting in practice. It's getting better. It's understanding that we can get a lot better and believing that you can get a lot better, and then going out and competing as hard as you can against Nebraska. We got to focus on here and now. We can't get too far ahead of ourselves. And when you do that, then guys start making mistakes. Guys start not playing hard anymore, and that's not what we want here. We want to just great attitude, a great approach, keep competing. Small, consistent victories lead to bigger things.
Maybe this is broad and borderline dumb, but
Borderline?
I got to bed late. Your questions are like a paragraph long. Let's get this one short.
You're getting timed.
All right. I mean, what's this?
Can we put a shot clock on him?
High school or? I mean, what's the source of your optimism in terms of, like, you've been doing this a long time. You guys have gotten closer and closer, and then you're kind of like splitting the atom at this point of getting over that hump. I mean, what gets you up still?
Just these kids. It's about the kids. It's never about us as coaches. I think a lot of the coaches out there, especially the quotes I've read over the last few days, they're missing the point of why they got in this business. I got in this business to develop men, to help kids, become great people and help them along their journey like my coaches did for me. That's why I got in this business. And I will never lose sight of what my why is. I will never do that. So it's easy to get up for me. I can't wait to go help Tony Carr get better. As a man, not just a basketball player, worldly, all around. Lamar Stevens. That's why I was a couple minutes. I'm up there just working with him, helping him. That's the joy. That's where you get your satisfaction. It's not winning games. Don't get me wrong. I want to win. I'm as competitive as you are. But ultimately, to see success and have Tim Frazier call you and DJ Newbill call you, and I got a text from a kid from BU. Thanks for what you did for me. You made me a better man. You changed me. That's a win. Now that I'm telling you, but nobody knows about that stuff. That, to me, is why you do it, and I won't forget that.
Pat, how frustrating has it been? You've been doing this for a while to know the buy-in that you have with your guys and how much that matters, but the outside criticism when these losses kind of pile up and just people not recognizing that aspect, because that is a big importance, obviously, from the inside, but externally it is just about winning. So how frustrating is that to balance, that outside noise with what in your heart is the important part here?
Yeah, you know what? It's an ongoing process. I just got to focus on what I can control. And what I can control is my attitude, my energy, my staff's attitude, my leadership, and their leadership, and how we conduct ourselves on a daily basis to help these kids reach their goals. And that's why we're here. And it's going to, eventually, it will result in wins. It will. We're just not there yet. And we're going to get there, trust me, because they all want it. I can see it. As long as we stay the course, we're going to get there.
Is there any sense of eagerness in you and your coaching staff that you guys are kind of right there?
Eagerness? I don't know.
Or what,
but we
how
know,
would you define it? Yeah.
I'm not even sure. I know we're close. It's a one-possession game. It's a rebound. It's a stop. It's a charge. It's a dive. It's a game-winning play. I really felt like Northwestern was a game that if I could bottle up, that would be how I've envisioned Penn State basketball over the last 6.5 years. And we're going to get back to that. We're a little out of sync. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to playing tough and physical Penn State basketball.
Speaking of Northwestern, just a little more outside of the team, it was obvious that there was energy from the crowd. I know there were students there, but the students have been fantastic this year. How much does the support from the community, when the support is there, as well as the student support this year, change things for you?
Yeah, again, the Legion of Blue has been awesome. They've been great, and I've actually gotten to know them really well, so that's been a great relationship for me. But when they get here and when the students come, it's awesome. We had a great atmosphere, and P.J. Mullen's done a great job of changing what goes on in this arena with the music, with the fun activities. I don't know, people have been texting me. Rose mentioned it today in the staff meeting, some of the stuff that's up on the video board to maybe engage the fans and getting to know each and every player a little bit better, maybe a little bit of comedy in there, which is great. And I think when you build relationships like that, then they're going to want to continue to come. We do play a fun style of basketball, and we got a lot of talented guys on this team, so keep coming out.